Hi, welcome to Parlor, the least habitable faction in the newly seceded United States, but not gay. I'll be your host today. My name is Ro. Host in a fun way, not in a parasitic way. This is my attempt to throw my hat into the ring of the commentary YouTube game of musical chairs, usually in which a charming, lovable white boy who passively supports Bernie Sanders is given a horde of rabid fans who would have just hated him in high school. They just finished playing the Macarena, so I'm going to slide my khakis right into one of these lukewarm vinyl school chairs and get it rockin'. Speaking of finishing songs, today's topic. Tom Macdonald has a new song. Tom Macdonald. Where to start with this guy? You may know him as the drummer from the background of every single music video, or as the kid in your intro to philosophy class who won't stop asking why we have a month for gay people, but not one for police horses. Or as the kid from your Boy Scout troop who was kicked out for using his dad's crossbow to shoot a beaver. Or as the result you get when you pick the last option for face tattoos in any game with a character customizer. Or as the local bad boy at your high school whose choice rumor was that he fucked a puff pastry at his aunt's vow renewals. Or as the guy who leaks out of Morrissey if you squeeze him hard enough. Or as a pack of Marlboro Lights who were given the curse of human form by a Republican witch. Or as the guy from your gas station who thinks that Rage Against the Machine is about hating phones. Or as the mascot of Rochester-based badminton team, the Racists. Or as the child in your second grade class who refused to stop running with scissors. Fun fact, if it's your birthday at Cracker Barrel, the employees all sing his song White Boy and bring out a little silver platter with a tiny Tom underneath it. Small as a field mouse. You may know him, is what I'm saying. He is a rapper, songwriter, singer, poet, by definition. You know, like two paths diverged in a yellow wood, and I picked the one that your cousin would share on Facebook. He's a cultural zeitgeist, an iconoclast, a martyr for people who write Tucker Carlson fan fiction. Tom Macdonald burst onto the hip-hop scene in... Never. He didn't do that. He did not burst onto the hip-hop scene. He burst onto the scene of dejected country turned Eminem stans who were kicked out of his fan base around, like, 2016 for supporting Trump. Yeah, and then Tom Macdonald came along, and he's their toxic rebound. The first time I ever heard about this guy was when Anthony Fantano, proprietor of the world's largest ergonomic wallet pyramid scheme, talked about his video White Boy. This video goes beyond victim complex. This is a victim commune. In a right-wing way. This is the Super Bowl halftime show of pity parties. This is the Bryce Hall COVID smash of pity parties. This video is Tom Macdonald rapping in a classroom about how people are mean to him about having cornrows. A Shakespearean tragedy, Mr. Macdonald. Amongst the standout bars here, the hatred for Caucasians is so fucking pathetic. White boy, say it out loud with my white voice, and I refuse to be ashamed because of my pretty blue eyes. So, Aryan PR team is really stepping it up, huh? I changed the lighting, but I don't think it's gonna be better because it's just bad. The entire class just gets mad and starts throwing shit at him, and then he just complains more. This is because every single Republican has, like, this deluded dream of being a prophet and a martyr who is impaled by javelins thrown by the 14-year-old Homestuck kiddies who are mad at them on Twitter. Thomas, maybe they would listen if you weren't yelling at them from the top of the table, and if your name was not taken from a book of Confederate nursery rhymes. This victim complex that he has only developed a more disturbing inflation kink over the years, and now it has grown into the bloated mess that is Tom Macdonald as we see him today. Whether he is rapping on $100,000 beats that he purchased from Eminem at an NFT auction that's real, or like a 4-note MIDI guitar pattern that was produced on Mozilla Firefox, it is insufferable. A Tom Macdonald album is essentially the score to a Ted Cruz rally that was executive produced by the people that do the PragerU graphs. Thomas recently had a TikTok hit with his song Fake Woke. This song is just...
I think it's crazy I'm the one who they labeled as controversial, and Cardi B is the role model for 12-year-old girls. There's rappers pushing Xanax at the top of the billboard, but if I mention race in a song I'm scared I'll get killed for it. It's bad.
Unlistenable. Yeah, it's not very good. It's this perfect tempo so that it's too fast to relax to, but too slow to dance to, so you're just constantly agitated while listening to it, which is awesome. It is actually, I talked to his marketing team, and it's that tempo so that at cowboy-themed bars, when people ride the mechanical bull, it'll sync perfectly to that song, so it's actually a royalties play. The song was actually also produced on and by that mechanical bull, so... props to that. This instrumental is the intersection between a 9-year-old who just got a bass and like a Lumineers instrumental. I like to call it Mumford & Sons of Confederate Veterans. Zinger? I don't know. I do like the cover for this song. It's underlining the fake to make sure that I get it. Even though it's the exact same size and font as the word woke, but Tommy was worried about my comprehension. Thank you, Tom. Thanks. Appreciate that. Impact font as well. Yeah, that's great because this song was made in 2011? I don't know. If you look at a picture of a Tom Macdonald concert, it looks like that photo from the end of The Shining. Every single person in a Tom Macdonald photo is just like Jack Nicholson with a few modifiers to their hair. A Tom Macdonald concert is essentially just a crowded Weezer cover. The floor of the venue is a jungle juice of like white sweat and Smirnoff. If you run your finger over the stage of a Tom Macdonald concert right after it's happened, you'll get a thick layer of dust that's developed since the opening act, because every single hour spent inside of that venue is a year on the outside, which is why Tom's politics are stuck in the 1800s, actually. Tom as a person kind of reminds me of Sam Pepper. I don't know if you remember him, like prank YouTuber from like 2015. Like, a shitty person, does things for attention, looks like they were designed in kid pics. Like, I remember one of the core moments in my comedic development was watching Nathan Zed say that Sam Pepper had Microsoft Paint tattoos. Thanks, Nathan. I broadly endorse pranks on Tom Macdonald. I think it would be really funny if somebody just poured a bag of marbles on stage at a Tom Macdonald concert. I want to see him squirm. But who is Tom Macdonald really? Well, how do I explain this? Tom Macdonald is like the hip-hop game Ian Miles Chong, and Ian Miles Chong is like the politics game Keemstar, and Keemstar is like the YouTube game Tim Allen, and Tim Allen is like the movie game Dick Cheney. If that answers any questions. I think I lost the plot of that one a bit. Tom is a Make America Great Again warrior who grew up in British Columbia and Alberta, Canada. So kind of like how Ian Miles Chong grew up in Malaysia and lives there, but refuses to jump off of Donald Trump's hog or whatever. Well, actually, Tom isn't a Trump supporter, according to his tweets. He's simply receiving a colonoscopy from the fence post that he refuses to stop sitting on. Yeah, so chronic centrist Tom Macdonald provides us with little to no answers for, like, any problems that he ever presents in his songs, unless, like, grow up is a profound answer to you. Okay, so what do we know about Tom Macdonald? We know he likes America and freedom. He hates social justice and cancel culture. He wants to celebrate Thanksgiving without thinking about genocide. He supports the military. Oh, but where are you getting these ideas, Ro? What if you're painting his ideas incorrectly? Where are you getting these? He says them in, like, all of his songs. Every single time a song of his is released, it's the same talking points over and over. Like, make no mistake, he's a Republican, and a really boring Republican too. He just hides behind this facade of, like, middle-of-the-road intellectualism. He has the cognitive stability of a 12-year-old in a PewDiePie comment section, and I hate to disparage that 12-year-old, but it's true. That's Tom politically, but artistically, he is shadow clone Post Malone. He's a vulture, baby. He vulches. He's vulchin. He's just like 4 years late to every musical trend, so right now he's sweeping down on Macklemore X The Police beats from like 2016, like a peregrine falcon. Trust me, in like 2 years, Tom will be circling the carcass of Plug and B type beats on YouTube, while the hot summer sun just beats down on his leathery wings. He's kind of like the Hamburglar, if the Hamburglar stole music and culture. Alright, so who are Tom Macdonald's contemporaries according to Spotify? Okay, we have Altar Boy turned horrorcore lyrical rapper, NF, classic. I mean, well, that's not fair. NF is like a lot more mainstream. NF has like hits. Tom Macdonald doesn't have hits. Yep, a better contemporary would probably be Dax. Yeah, Dax. No Dax flame relation, but he probably also got bullied in high school or middle school. Just any of those times. He is known for his songs Joker, Gotham, Joker Returns, and Why So Serious. And also Grinch. This is like a Hall of the Mountain King flip, where he raps from the perspective of the Grinch. This is, okay. Wait, this was like 2 years after the Grinch reboot. This was not a cash grab. I don't know what this is. I'm the Grinch! He recently released a song featuring Tom Macdonald called Propaganda. It is exactly what you'd expect from Tom Macdonald and Dax. Propaganda! The vaccine. I realized when listening to this song that my Spotify friends can see what I'm listening to, and never in my life have I almost impulsively made a burner account faster than that. This song is like the least interesting Twitter thread written by somebody who's like thought really hard about Fountainhead once. Hasn't read Fountainhead, but has like really thought hard about reading it, is really channeled into that thought. The music video is the vaccine. Confusing. Why is Dax wearing a tank top in pouring rain? It's not like it started raining. He shows up in the tank top. Why is it shot like a Zack Snyder film? Why does Dax have his name tattooed on his neck and a chain with his name on it? Was it a 2-for-1 deal? I just don't know why there's like torrential rainfall. It is an apocalyptic amount of rain. I don't know if Tom and Dax are meant to be rapping or collecting 2 of each animal for the art. It's like a 2000s R&B video or a 2010s reggaeton video. I've seen both. Osuna is a reggaeton artist. If you didn't get the so right after I watched this one, I have a recommendation for a video whose thumbnail is Dax carrying a cross like Jesus. And this video is about Tom, so I have to tap out of the Dax lore for now. Oh my god, it has 40 million views. Disengage. I'm disengaging. I will not escalate the situation. That's therapy. Okay, Tom Macdonald backstory unlocked. Let's get into his new song, America. Released 4 days ago on October 1st, the day America was founded, so nice touch, Tom. All right, let's get into it. Can I just say he looks like a movie extra who would oversee dogfights? It's nothing about his face tattoos or anything. He just looks like the type of guy that would enjoy watching Bijan's fight.
Lately, USA is getting scarier. Half of the Americans I see all hate America.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to spoil this a bit. What this song essentially is like a list of B-sides from the Turning Point USA graphic design team. I could picture probably like 75% of these lyrics verbatim just above Charlie Kirk, just like smoldering with the look of a 12-year-old who just learned what Manifest Destiny is.
They hate the cops doing their best to take care of us and kneel for the flag and salt the soldiers that we're burying.
You know, I just don't like the point of like people died for America. Respect it. People die for everything. People die for sex. Roadhead kills. Did you know that people died for pronouns, Thomas? Did you know that people died for pronouns?
Apparently no one's aware or cares that it's embarrassing, it's arrogance. Our greatest enemy was always slavery and terrorists, and now it's people in the country trying to burn the heritage.
Heritage. Ding 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 ding. Heritage. He said heritage. He said heritage. He said heritage. He said heritage. He is sucking and fucking that dog whistle. Jesus Christ. Tom, you sly cat. Where's Jared? Don't you have like a poisoned platter of milk to give him? Or don't you have to get hit by like a comically large mallet? And then like, it's funny because the line like directly before this, he references terrorism and slavery as something that like we hate. And then he complains about people disliking American heritage. America as a country was built on slavery. You know, like racism against people of color, but specifically black people and indigenous people. And yes, the American populace historically terrorized, committed acts of terror against black people, against Native American people, against people of color. Not just the general populace either, especially like American people, presidents, politicians, settlers. The reason that America is able to be in every single corner that it's in right now is because it did terrorism and committed genocide to people on the land that it now occupies. This is the type of cognitive dissonance that just plagues people like Tom Macdonald. These are the sputtering delusions of a One America News viewer on their deathbed after shotgunning horse medication. Also, we used to hate slavery and terrorism. It's just an asinine point. First of all, I still hate slavery and terrorism. What do I count for, Tom? What am I, chopped liver? Am I chopped? Am I brown? Yes. Yeah, America does not hate slavery and terrorism. America hates anybody who isn't white. If it hated slavery, it would not be legal through the 13th Amendment. American companies would not essentially use slave labor abroad to manufacture their products. Undocumented citizens wouldn't be forced to work starvation wages to provide for their families. And if America hated terrorism, then the police wouldn't exist, and they wouldn't participate in imperialism, colonialism abroad. The military would go poof. Somehow these two realities of we used to hate slavery and terrorism and now we hate American heritage coexist in Tom's mind. Even though if we hated slavery and terrorism, then we would also hate American heritage. Gotcha, Tom. We still think the same thing. Easy, slam dunk, 100 points for... I'm not gonna do a Harry Potter reference. That's despicable. I wonder if the guy who lives inside of Tom Macdonald's head and like sits at a piano and just pulls chords to make different sound effects come out of his mouth, like has to pay rent. Probably does. Tom seems like a thought landlord.
The internet is only interested in left opinions. Cancel culture's got more power lately than the First Amendment.
Oh, brother. Okay. Oh, yeah, no. I actually... hold on, let me read this to you guys. So before it was like classic First Amendment, you know, the nursery rhyme First Amendment that we all learned when we were at a crib. But now, here, let me read it to you. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or of the right to the people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances. However, if K-pop Twitter AVIs harass them enough, then an Orwellian state will be installed. I can't believe they added that. That's crazy. You know, if you're referring to people getting arrested because of cancel culture, I think you're thinking of crime. They did a crime. Are you mad at crime culture, Thomas? Is that what it is? Oh yeah, I really did get peeved when the Unabomber canceled all of those people via the Postal Service. Didn't you hate it when the Zodiac SJW canceled all of those young people? I can't do it.
If you don't like it, leave. We will not defund police. We don't want no riots in our neighborhoods or in the streets. We respect freedom of speech. We protect what we believe. We don't want nobody dead, so please do not tread on me.
America was created out of a revolutionary war, and like people like Tom can't stop glorifying that and then complaining about riots. You are salivating on America's knob like Pavlov's dog when it hears the Liberty Bell. We respect freedom of speech, but we'd rather if you didn't complain and just left. That just means you don't really like freedom of speech that much. That's fine, just say it. He then ends it all with the libertarian call to action, don't tread on me, which is also what high school esports teams say instead of the Pledge of Allegiance, so nice touch.
In America, your freedom ain't free. In America, got soldiers dying overseas.
This is like a Revolutionary War Machine Gun Kelly. This is Machine Musket Kelly.
You say what we believe, my America.
I think Tom is trying to do his own Hotline Bling here, some sort of rotary edition. It's going over poorly. He looks like a toddler on a merry-go-round.
If my stars and stripes offend you, then I'll help you pack your bags. America.
Oh, he's gonna help us pack our bags. That's scary. It's literally the most generic conservative talking point he could have taken. Also, I hope it's not lost on him that, like, the stars and the stripes are for the states and the colonies. Like, the flag is a testament to the state, and you are a libertarian, apparently, so I'll let you do the arithmetic. You know what, Tom? I hope one day the two thinks that live inside of your brain and are constantly in a homoerotic game of flag football make peace one day. You don't deserve this doublethink, Tom. You deserve monogathink. What?
Did everyone forget that people died to pay for this?
How could we forget people died, Tom? You told us that in the first verse. I know that your repeated watching of God's Not Dead 2 and banned Ben Shapiro clips on Vimeo have resulted in your mind wilting like a peace lily in the Sahara sun, and now you have the memory of a golden retriever. I am on my hands and knees pleading for you to remember that you already said this.
I just want to celebrate Thanksgiving with my family. I don't need your help to understand it was a tragedy. Can I just be thankful for my country eating happily without you trying to guilt me for the genocide and casualties?
He said this too, or in Fake Woke, he said this exact thing, like the exact same thing. Tom, you're allowed to eat stuffing any day. You realize that, right? You're allowed to get the family together anytime you want. You're just free to do that. And I know you're not on a strict schedule. You don't have a day job. If you did, I would tell you not to quit it. Do you think he's like this at Thanksgiving? Like he just turns on a Pilgrim type beat and starts freestyling at his nephews about how trans people want to shoot bald eagles out of the sky? Thomas, that's enough. Do you want cranberry sauce? Can you please turn down your SoundCloud? He's like, oh, this is BeatStars, Mom. This is I'm gonna buy this beat and rap on it.
I can't help it, I just seem to see the world different. It ain't black or white, it's conflict designed by the system. I don't need your pronouns, all I see is men and women. Kids are taking pills for fun while people can't afford prescriptions.
Pause. Whoa. Okay. We're a bit more disjointed now. Okay, Tom, if you're mad at the system, what country do you think runs the system? You've got this, buddy. What else? I don't care about your thoughts on gender. Opiate crisis as a result of the war on drugs. Who do you think started that war on drugs, Tom? Which country? Which country's government? No, Tom, it is not Libsville. That's not a real place. Opiate crisis is also a result of big pharma, but that's like capitalism, which he also likes. Also, people can't afford prescriptions because of Americanized healthcare. I also really think it's funny that he ran out of things to talk about because every single one of his ideological beliefs needs to fit on a Snapple cap, so he just has to start talking about pronouns again for no reason. You know what? I hope Tom does a Snapple collab. Actually, no, they would not stoop to that level. I hope Tom does a Twisted Tea collab. Actually, a Bang Energy or a Four Loko collab would be really great. It would just be like a can full of oil, and if you pour it into your car, it like acts like nitrous.
Hated them, don't call it home. We don't need no violence, got no time for all you radicals. Screw your status quo.
Screw you radicals, screw your status quo. Those are two... What? Yeah, stick it to the status quo of the radicals. Stick it to the man of the not man.
In America, your freedom ain't free. In America, got soldiers dying overseas.
I like the background vocals in this chorus. They sound straight out of a Casio keyboard from like 2004.
America, you can hate the government.
Okay, so now we're at the monologue bridge, which is like a staple of annoying people content. For some reason, Tom thinks that he didn't have like the first two verses and the first two choruses to say anything of merit. So during the like bridge, he has to wrap himself in an American flag and be this like patriot fighting for his country. You had 2 minutes before this to like make a dent in the argument. I don't know why now you're donning a cape like the worst Batman villain.
You can hate the government and still love the country. The fundamental values of America are concrete.
Okay, who's the country then, Tom? The landmass, the people. What is the United States of America? Think on that. Also, the fundamental values were put into document by the people who started and maintained the government. Actually, I will give you that American values are laid into concrete if you mean that they're laid into concrete like they were sort of like poured out in a neighborhood and then nobody looked after them and a ton of shitty little kids came by and drew penises in them. I agree with that.
Republicans and liberals are dumb, to put it bluntly. They're labels that they use to create chaos and corruption. You can know the history and still be proud of where you're from. Every flag around the world is covered in a little blood.
A little blood? Okay. My erotic magic bullet accident. That was a little blood. Ripstick crashes. That's a little blood. American history, on the other hand, it's a lot of blood. That's a little bit more than a bit.
We started out United States divided is what we've become. If home is where the heart is, you should show America some love.
Okay, America was like united in their hatred of Great Britain when we founded the country, and then we tried to get rid of slavery, and half of the country just fucked off. Do you think Tom would be around during the Civil War as like a traveling bard with a garish cap who tells the Union soldiers about how they're exacerbating divides and he's got an accordion? You know, thinking about that reality, we are lucky to see Tom in a world where his biggest concern is not understanding what a pronoun is.
America.
Let's reflect. I just watched 3 minutes of Marco Rubio quotes massaged into spoken word, put over the instrumental you get when you type music rap beat into Bing and then click on the first result. This song is made for people who fulfill the diagram of, I don't have the attention span to listen to a Trump rally. What if a song was all catchphrases? I would love that. And I forgot how to spell PragerU, so I just typed America into the search bar to see if that would do it. Like, there's not a single line in these lyrics that is genuinely impactful to someone, to anybody who has seen more than like 15 minutes of a documentary. Not even like a political documentary, like Planet Earth. If you know that animals procreate on Earth, then some of this is dumb. If you've heard David Attenborough's voice, you can't think all of this.
This I definitely doesn't fuck.
The instrumental is impressively uninteresting. I get nothing out of the song other than like Tom is mad and loud. His singing is like a worse Eminem singing voice. He's like Limp Bizkit if they hated minorities. I think I'm just confused by Tom because he's obviously a Republican, but he has to like performatively reject the label so that he can pretend to be a libertarian. When in reality, a libertarian, like by definition, shouldn't be this invested in a country. You know what? Tom Macdonald is like the white Eminem. I am surprised that he has the funds to do everything he does, considering that he has to purchase a new plot of land every single time his massive victim complex grows, and considering that he has to pay for spinal surgery from having a head so big that is comparable of the Earth to Atlas. I guess he just pays with his supporters' money because now he's releasing albums on his own website. Maybe because like fake woke is too controversial for, I don't know. You can buy 6 of his albums for $75, or any of his 3 Nightmarica shirts for $30, or Self-Respect for $0. You can sleep well for $0. If you're looking to support Tom Macdonald financially, then you could not do that. I'd recommend you support your children financially. You are behind on the payments, and no, child support doesn't not count when your wife is an insipid hag. His Hangover Gang shirt has the anarchy symbols on it, which really matches Tom. I know people who like anarchy also hate riots. He has an uncancelable ski mask. Oh god. I don't know if people realize that if their audience does not like have standards, they won't get canceled. Like, it's not a bragging point. Like, Tom Macdonald fans' standard for human beings is Congress people who aren't pedophiles, and sometimes Congress people who are pedophiles. So effectively, any person who's ever done anything. He has dozens of pieces of merch. Good lord. Who is buying these? Like, where is the underground coalition of closeted Tom Macdonald fans that are spending their cold, hard Bitcoin on this? So what do we do about a person like Tom Macdonald, right? Well, first, we don't talk about him. Oh, okay, that's a little overzealous. But that is sort of an essential step. People like Tom thrive off of negative attention and controversy. But what that really means is a prerequisite for talking about Tom means cogently critiquing him. If we don't do that, then when we talk about him, we're just exposing him to vulnerable people that watch our platform. So if you've watched this video, I hope you've gotten the take home that not only is Tom Macdonald's music soulless, bland, uninteresting, poorly produced, and boring, but that it is embarrassingly illogical and politically illiterate. This is the reflection of a man who wakes up every single day and looks in the mirror and says, yeah, the braids are a good choice, I'll keep them. They don't make me look like a Dr. Mario pill. I mean, without the braids, he looks like one of the Da Vinci twins, so maybe he's right, I don't know. As a person, if you look through his discography for more than 15 seconds, you should probably see who we're dealing with. By the time you get to his song, If I Was Black, you'll think, Oh yeah, it makes sense that he made that still. Like, Jesus Christ. Tom Macdonald is kind of like a sewage outlet in the alt-right pipeline. Okay, listen, if you're an alt-righter that found this video, or a Republican that found this video, at least listen to the Smiths. If you want to listen to shitty people, the least you can do is opt for good music. This is like a GarageBand producer AI from 2009 was forced to watch 1,000 hours of Fox and Friends. It's lazy, it's boring, it's irrelevant, it's repetitive, it's just bad. Now that I've talked about a terrible rapper for this entire video, I implore you to go listen to some good rap. If you're looking for rap with an amazing leftist perspective, go check out No Name. She's an amazing activist, person, poet, rapper. Love her all around. But really, just go and listen to some good artists. Because when you watch a video like this, I want you to be able to cleanse your palate from the horrific meal that Tom Macdonald is, you know? Because rap is a beautiful genre that people like Tom Macdonald clearly are using just to get on people's nerves. And to make some people's lives worse. So if you take anything away from this, at least take away that Tom Macdonald is a vast minority in the sea of rappers. Well, I think that about wraps it up. All of you, thank you for watching. Have a lovely day. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Be kind to the people around you. And remember that you are loved. Okay, until next time. Bye.